Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have D.H. Gatlin. And we're going to be discussing his amazing book, Change of Verdict, a diary of a father's love. Available for purchase through Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, pretty much wherever books are sold, authorreputationpress.com. I'm telling you, you name it. Just type in those words and search for it, and you're going to be greeted with a whole host of places where you can purchase it. And if you haven't figured it out already, Daniel was brought to our network by that same publishing company, Author Reputation Press. So listen to me. If you're a writer out there, you've written a book, although you find yourself at a crossroads because now you're wondering how to move it. Well, have no fear because your questions have been answered. Author Reputation Press is they're the company you have to go with. They're one of the best in the business to do it. And people, this is what they specialize in. So do yourself a favor. Head on over to authorreputationpress.com today and gather all of the ways that they're going to help maximize your creative endeavors. It is a true pleasure to have Daniel here on the line. Now, the moment you start to do research on this book, you're going to understand the journey you're getting ready to embark upon. And, I say journey, but really it's a roller coaster, okay? Because there are twists and there are turns, there's hills and there's valleys. And this is something that you're not going to want to put down. An absolute nonstop page turner that really blurs the lines of justice and brings to question what you would do if you were placed in a similar position for those that you love. And listen, please understand, we're only going to capture the essence here today. You're going to need to head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, authorreputationpress.com, and purchase your copies. And once we've concluded, you're going to do just that. Because you're going to understand that this is a book that you're going to want to have on your shelf. Sit back, strap in, and get ready for a wild ride. Daniel, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest with us today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, the pleasure is all ours. We're thoroughly looking forward to this. Daniel, I think what you've embarked upon here is something that any father, or really any parent figure, has thought of, right? And has come across a situation where it made him ponder a little bit. So I'm loving what you're doing here. Thank you for writing the book, and thank you very much for being a guest with us here to discuss it. Before we go into it, though, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
My name is Daniel Gatlin. I own a truck. And I drive a truck for a living. I at the time I wrote the book, I was a single father, and she was my inspiration. I now have 3 daughters, a beautiful wife, and a handful of grandchildren. So everything's great for me.
There you have it. Well, listen, man, congratulations on what sounds like a beautiful family that you have surrounded yourself with. Nothing but continued success to you and all of your loved ones. And without further ado, Daniel, the anchor for today's interview is all about your book, Change of Verdict, a diary of a father's love. Tell us a little bit more about it.
It's a love story, really, about a father who loves his daughter unconditionally, and she got in with the wrong crowd or the wrong boyfriend, and she by his hands she got killed. His family had money, and they were able to get him the top of the line lawyers, and through technicality they got him off with a slap on the wrist. And Mr. Burton, the father in the book, he just couldn't live with it. So He had to do what he felt like he had to do to avenge his daughter's name.
Daniel, hearing you say that, listen, all my parents out there can relate in terms of what one of the biggest fears I think that all parents carry is the death of their children, right? And some unfortunate circumstance as this happening to them. So I think it's safe to assume the answer to this next one, Daniel, but you know what happens when you assume, man, so I'm not going to do that to you. I have you here on the line. Let's go directly to the source. Talk to us a little bit further about that inspiration, because I know you started to go into it when you mentioned your first daughter, but tell us a little bit more, Daniel, about what inspired you to write this novel.
Well, like I said, I was a single father raising a daughter at the time, and I wanted her to see that anything is possible. That if she sets her mind to it and she works really hard, she can do anything. I trust me, I was the most unlikely person you would ever imagine that would ever write a book. But I wanted to show my daughter that it was possible, no matter what. So I wrote the book with her in mind, about my love for her and what I would do if the situation had occurred.
Yeah.
And I wrote the manuscript, and then my mother, who was battling cancer at the time, was the most avid reader that I knew, and I gave her the manuscript, and she asked me to have it published, but she thought it was decent, and she thought it was good, and she asked me to have it published, and unfortunately, I did, but unfortunately she didn't make it in time to be able to see the finished product. But I know somewhere she knows that I fulfilled the promise to her.
Absolutely.
By having it published.
Absolutely. Daniel, sticking with inspiration here, but broadening it a bit. When it comes to writing, of course, your career background has nothing to do with writing. So growing up, was this a hobby of yours? Were there certain writers that you always admired and followed? Talk to us about where that love for creative writing comes from, or was it solely a thing as a lesson that you wanted to kind of teach your daughter?
It started out as a lesson. And because of my background, I have personal issues in my background. And as I started writing, I was able to, it was like therapy for me. And I was able to work out things in my own personal life as I was writing the story. Yes, that's all I really can say. It helped me out a lot. I was able to show my daughter, what she could do if she puts her mind to it, but I was also able to, as I got into it every day, it really was therapeutic more than anything else for myself.
Absolutely. Listen, I understand that. People, again, we're here on the line with D.H. Gatlin. We're discussing his fantastic novel, Change of Verdict, A Diary of a Father's Love. Available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, directly from the publishing company, authorreputationpress.com. But make sure to check out his personal website, dhgatlin.com, to gather everything that he has in store. Daniel, next question that I'd love to go into, really a curiosity for myself here. You talked about really how this process became therapeutic, and throughout writing it, it became something that you were more and more engaged in. Well, was there a particular highlight for you throughout this process, or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't anticipating before you began?
Well, I wasn't really anticipating reliving a lot of my childhood before I began, but I was able to relive it and work my way through a lot of it. See, I don't know how personal we want to get, but I was abused for 3 years in my younger life as a child.
Sorry.
And my abuser, by the time I realized what was going on and what had, I had grown up enough to know that what was going on was wrong, my abuser passed away. So I was never able to confront him in any kind of way. So I was able to work out a lot of things that I thought were in the back of my head and not there, but they come back, which was a good thing, because I was able to work things out through my writing, and I just I get a little tongue tied on it because it's very emotional for me.
No, of course.
But it was, like I said, it was therapeutic, and I really was able to work out things, and I was able to come to understand a little bit more about how to deal with my own personal traumas. one of my main goals of the book, and I know you haven't asked me, but one of my main goals of the book is that I would like to help spread in any way I can. I would like to help spread the word about abuse and help people of abuse in any way that I can. And I'm hoping that by using this platform and any other platform that I might have, I might be able to help make a difference with somebody.
You know, Daniel, I love the fact that you took it there. First and foremost, man, I know you're not looking for praise, but let me be the first to say here on our network, thank you for being so open and candid about your past, because this is something that is going to be words of strength and inspiration to so many people. We understand there's a wide range of the spectrum of abuse is very wide. Right. So it's as unique as the individual. But we also understand that unfortunately so many people in our society are abused. So this by no means is something new. And the fact that you have been so brave to open up and showcase that, Daniel, we admire that, man, because it takes courage, it takes bravery. And you're able to formulate a bridge by doing so. So thank you very much for being that guiding light, right? And that inspiration for so many. As we transition, I want to go a little bit more into your writing process and, go a little down that rabbit hole here. But first and foremost, Daniel, I've spoken to many writers, and one common thing that is talked about is how after a while, when they get moving, right, when that snowball starts to roll down the hill, it builds and it accumulates, and their characters and their storyline starts to just develop itself almost. So I want to hear it from you. Can you describe a moment when your own characters or your own storylines took on a life of their own, surprising even you as the author?
I do agree 100% in what you're saying. I actually wrote the book while I was working in a big truck, and I would spend all day while I was working thinking about what was next and what was going to happen, and then eventually they almost was telling me what was next and what was going to happen. And I couldn't wait to stop and get my computer out so I could write a little bit more and get it down before I forgot. And like you said, eventually it's another world, and you just kind of engulf yourself into it, and you become this world around you, and you're almost living the book as it's being created.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic feeling, and that was the whole therapeutic thing for me, was the fact that I started out kind of in control. But then as it went on, it almost just sucked me in to where it was telling me what was going to happen. And all I had to do is get it put on paper. I mean, it was that wonderful. And, it was just a wonderful feeling of freedom, of being able to go into this world. And today's, how the world is today, and we all got bills and we all got problems at home and we all got things we got to worry about. But I was able to really put my mind, my daily life aside, and go into this world where everything was great around me, and there was no problems, and it actually gave me comfort, and it gave me bliss, for instance. And I just couldn't wait to get back there every day for months. It took me about 4 months or maybe even longer, because I couldn't write a whole lot each day, but I just couldn't wait to get back to that point after I got done with my daily work. And it was just a fantastic experience. It really was.
I love that. Last couple of questions here for you, Daniel. Sticking with that writing process and, really, again, going down that rabbit hole, because my background is in filmmaking, right? So I live in my imagination. This is something I love to do. Daniel, if you could enter the world of the book that you've written, which page would you land on and why?
I would probably land on the last page, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because everything comes together in the last page, and you realize that Mr. Burton is free. He's free from everything, and you feel good for him after everything he's been through. And I mean, I don't want to give you too much of what it's about, but you know, you get to reading, and as I was writing, you start to feel for this man, and you feel all the just the trauma he's going through, and the heartbreak that he's going through, and you realize that he's free at the end, and in a way that you probably wouldn't expect, but he is. I mean, the writer, myself, I guess, intentions is for him to be free at the end and be relieved of all his pain and sorrows.
Mm-hmm. Last question here for you, Daniel, and really just to tie it all together here. 2-part question with this next one, but who would you say is your intended reader with this book, and what would be the main message that you hope that they receive from it upon completing it?
My intended reader, anybody, I guess. I wouldn't let young adults, I wouldn't let children read it, but anywhere from young adults up, I would say that, you know, they would be my intended reader, because it's a very good story, and there's a good message. The message is, it's all about love, and if we could all take time to love one another each, you know, a little more, whether it be your kids or your family or even your neighbor, the world would become a better place. Mm-hmm. And you would be put, you know, Mr. Burton was put in a situation where, as your reader reads, he's put in a situation where he feels he has no choice to do what he has to do, but it's out of love that he's doing it. And that's really my intentions, is we need more love in the world. We really do. And we all need to, you know, think about our own actions, and we all need to realize that, you know, life is short and anything can happen. And we're here today, gone tomorrow, in any situation. And, you know, we need to grasp a hold of the things we care about, the people we care about, and let them know that we care about them before it's too late to not be able to do it. Yeah. Because, I mean, death is final, and there's nothing you could say about it. It's just final. So if you've not said nothing or done something that you really wanted to do, you have no second chance. So I really want to promote understanding. You know, people's differences are okay. We're supposed to be different. But I really want to promote love in everything you do.
People, there you have it. Listen, this is something that you're going to want to embark upon. Not only is that a fantastic message, but like I said, man, listen, if you just want something to just pass time by on a rainy day, this book has what you're looking for. And absolutely, that message is something we can all get behind. Imagine the world we would live in if more people operated from a perspective of love. My goodness. I'm here for it. Okay. I'm here for it. I'm loving what he's putting down. People, one more time, you got to head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, authorreputationpress.com. Check out his personal site, dhgatlin.com, and just get lost in it, okay? The title is Change of Verdict, A Diary of a Father's Love by D.H. Gatlin. This is something you're going to want to embark upon, and you're going to want to get lost in. Trust me on that one. Head on over there today, pick up your copies. Daniel, this has been a true pleasure, man. An absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You made it sound so good. I almost got online and bought my own book.